And welcome to Real Books Don't Have Batman.
Because they don't.
I'm Frank Duran.
I'm Deshaun Vasquez.
And this week, we are going right into it because we got quite the big week this week. Wake is on its 9th issue, and we are getting to the last issues of Batwing. So I really just want to get down to the comic reviews. But before we do that, be sure to watch this episode. Like, you can listen to it anywhere. You can find it on Comic Podcast, Geeky Universe, Rhymes with Geek. Everywhere. Comics related. But you can only watch us and see our beautiful little mugs on...
With all the stubble.
Yes, all our stubble. On GAU Studios, their YouTube, and also GAUstudios.com. So please check it out there, and be sure to like and subscribe to see our beautiful mugs more often. But let's go right into it. What I read in store, which was extremely disappointing. Futures at number 5. You guessed it, folks. I said it before. I'll say it again. The first issue, the Zero issue, was fantastic.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun, and it was bloody and violent and cool.
This comic has not been that ever. Like, the entire time. This issue literally is a waste of goddamn comic art space. Like, it literally is. There's nothing that happens in this issue. They introduce that Mr. Terrific does like an Apple conference where he shows off his new tech and stuff, and they introduce the Sphere, which is supposed to be the thing that starts Big Brother, but you sit there and you go, I don't care, because he's just obnoxious. Mm-hmm. And then they spend some time with Grifter and some dude we don't know, and then they spend some time doing other crap, and then they finally resolved the Firestorm thing in a really melodramatic way that they're like, well, we're gonna stop being Firestorm, and then they walk away. It's just like what is the point? Like, that all it was this big like thing to make Firestorm look terrible, and then Firestorm to break off, and Firestorm be no more. They even do the shot from Spider-Man where, like, he's walking away, but they're walking away from each other, so it's, like, really homosexual.
Is it?
Well, it's like, I mean, this whole situation has been weird. Like, the Firestorm thing has been the weirdest, like, comic book thing I've seen in so long, because it's just literally a hero not acting like a hero and just acting like a douchebag, and like, literally has nothing good in him, but then still debates he does. Like, the entire time, the blonde guy who's part of Firestorm, I don't give a care about their names, but, like, the blonde guy's like, well, I'm a hero too, you don't know what I've gone through, you don't know, and it's like, and they keep alluding to this war that happened, that I guess is supposed to be, like, Earth 2's apocalypse. Like, you know, like apocalypse coming to Earth 2 and stuff like that, but it happened here on the Future's End world. And oh my god, is it stupid. Like, it's just like, this plot line could have been summed up, I think, in the same way Grant Morrison did his Justice League of America plot line with Doomsday and, what's that story I love so much from Justice League that Grant Morrison wrote?
Rock of Ages?
Rock of Ages. It's like, the basic is like, this is like, the beginning was like a love letter to Rock of Ages. Like, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna fucking kill everyone, and it'll be crazy, brother eye, you know, like, all that stuff. But then it goes to being just really slow and a waste of space. Like, absolutely, there's nothing that happens this issue that is worthwhile, people. Nothing. That's it. Nothing about this issue is worth progressing the story. That's all I'm saying.
I was already feeling that anyway.
But we've been feeling that for 3 issues.
Mm-hmm.
We're 5 issues in now.
I'm done.
I'm done.
I didn't read the last one.
I'm done.
Before this, so I'm not reading this one. I'm done.
We don't talk, because we don't usually read bad comics. It sucks that, like, a comic I was like, let's read it on the weekly, sucks so much donkey dicks. Like, it's just awful. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give this one a 3. Like, that bad. Don't stop reading Future's End. Make them cancel Future's End, because this is like bullshit at this point.
It's a waste of space.
It is. Like, because you could spend time making a great thing like this, or you could make crap.
Original content like Movement that none of you will buy, and then it'll just get canceled anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not bitter.
No, not even a little bit.
No.
What did you read for DC in the store?
what I read for DC. I read Action Comics number 31. I think it's number 31.
Yeah.
And this continues the Superman Doomed storyline. This issue wasn't as good as the last Action Comics issue that touched on, mostly because Aaron Cooter's not doing the art, so it doesn't fit as much. The art's pretty rough in this issue.
Yeah.
But the story's still intriguing. Superman's essentially like public enemy number 1 right now because he can't control the Doomsday formula, and even he's just like, I don't blame anyone. They actually should be defending against me. I have no idea what I'm doing. He's like flying over a forest, and just by looking at the forest, his eyes are starting to become bloodshot, and he's setting the entire forest on fire.
Wow.
Like he can't even control his own sight.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so, what does the rough art like bring it down completely, or
it doesn't bring it down completely, but it's pretty like. It's like slightly below average art.
Yeah, that's not.
So you're just like, oh.
Well, where does it go? Does Wonder Woman's like? Where are we going with this Doom
Wonder
plot?
Woman is still trying to help out. She's trying to get help from like other people who know Clark who might get to him.
Anybody.
Yeah. So she contacts Lana.
Yeah.
And they both have like this weird moment where they both trust Clark. Just like, oh, do you trust him after all that's happened? It's like, oh, absolutely. And Lana says on the phone, fist bump.
Fist bump.
Just like, oh.
Yeah. Everyone trusts Clark. Yeah. Superman, maybe not.
Aside from that, it's kind of spinning its wheels to extend the storyline a little more.
They're
But
like,
it's still intriguing.
We still got two more pots left.
But kind of spoilers, it finally happened this issue, so that made me forgive it a little
he's
bit.
finally Doomsday.
He finally just went full.
Okay, that's cool, because they were kind of like alluding to it, and then he would switch back.
Happen. It's gonna happen. He just went.
Yeah, remember in Superman Wonder Woman, he actually turned into it, and he just totally went back. They were just like, he's it, but not. Like, it's like, oh, that's not cool. But what'd you rate it?
I'd give it a 7.
Yeah, not bad, but decent.
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty good.
Next up on the list is some Marvel books we read in store. Black Widow number 6.
Something? I think we're beyond.
We're so
6.
sorry, people. We're
it comes out bi-weekly, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That makes it even harder to keep track of.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but Black Widow. If you're not picking up Black Widow,
pick up Black Widow.
Oh!
We're hypocrites for saying this because we're not picking it up yet.
But like seriously, this book is absolutely gorgeous, fun. Like this is the most fun issue of Black Widow too, because they incorporate Daredevil. But like as much as it's fun, because you're like Daredevil hanging out in San Francisco and stuff like that, it gets serious like that, and it doesn't feel out of line with the seriousness. It feels very in story.
Like no matter how many times this book may have like an epic action sequence, it's just the colors are so warm and the drawings are so vibrant that I always feel so relaxed every time I read Black Widow.
Yeah, it's a nice read. Basically, it's got beautiful art, well done writing, and they understand Black Widow, which is cooler. And the whole mechanic of this entire issue is that Daredevil can't actually read like Black Widow anymore. Like he used to be able to read her heartbeat and tell when she was lying.
They used to have a thing.
But now he can't tell if she's lying or not, and what does that actually mean to Black Widow? And like, I love that because it's like I always say, comic gold. We should have like a fucking symbol every time I say comic gold.
The comic gold stamp of approval.
Boom! Because like really, it gets down to like the kernel of the character, and like is able to show it in only a way a comic could.
It's a good thing that the whole including Daredevil thing didn't feel forced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they've been tied together for so long.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh, she just happens to have a case in San Francisco. She could have a case anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
And you almost forget that Daredevil's also active in there, so he could have shown up and could have not shown up.
Yeah, so I liked it. I thought it was cool, and it was a nice crossover. And I absolutely want to just give this one a 9. Like this one's,
I give it a 9 too.
It's awesome. It's good stuff. Next up on the list is another one of our favorite series that we are not buying yet, which is stupid because we should be buying this series. You should be buying this series.
Everyone should be buying.
Everyone should spend money on Magneto, especially after seeing Days of Future Past and being like, you know who's a badass? Magneto. You should pick up this series because this series is only getting better. Oh, man.
Why is it so... But it's so inactive when you really think about it. It's mostly like Magneto like walking around and brooding, but you're just like, yeah, that dialogue. That inner monologue. So when he eventually does something, It's like a slow-paced TV show or
Yeah.
something. So I'm just gonna walk around and brood, but occasionally I'll kill something.
it's actually it's like so moody, you know, like it's so moody that it's slow in that way. You're right. It does. This is still like we're 6 issues in, and he's still setting up the story. Like we are finally being introduced to a character who's going to bring Magneto into an actual main story. Like we are finally getting to it, guys.
But the entire thing is still investing.
Yeah, entire time. Even though we are 6 issues in, this is still the most engaging setup I have ever I've ever read. You know, it's still like, yeah, plot hasn't even started. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
like
it's just so easy to just pick up and get into.
It's not like Future's End where I'm sitting there being like, okay, we're on issue 6.
And
Where's the goddamn plot?
I'm so bored.
It's just like, okay, but like this is fantastic. It's so the monologue is so well written.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, comic fucking gold.
Stamp.
Stamp, because like it knows Magneto, and that's what's so cool is that Chris Bunn like kind of gets
Cullen.
He gets it. Like, you know, like he gets the way like what Magneto's trying to do instead of just like, I made Magneto the master of magnetism. He's gonna fight a bunch of magnet guys.
And it was a good idea to touch upon a Magneto who's like significantly depowered as opposed to the power he used to contain.
Yeah, it's cooler that way, and it almost feels like I don't want to say it feels like Dexter, because it's not like Dexter in that way, but like it's mostly just him being around, being like, my dark past. But then but this issue's cool because it does flashbacks to when Magneto's at full power, and Magneto at full power is always always cool.
There's a reason why it was just like, even though he was the most recurring villain, he was still one of the most powerful in the X-Men.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like sometimes you're like, can't they get another villain? But like,
but it's Magneto.
Yeah, you're like,
it's a pretty big threat.
Yeah, absolutely. And you get why he's always around with Xavier. He's just in love. in Days of Future Past, that was the one thing that stuck out to me was like Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy like acknowledging the love between the two of them, like, and Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen also being like, I love you, Magneto. like that was the one part about that movie that I was like, that was so much bro love. Like, it's just
all those years fighting with each other, Charles.
Yes, exactly. It was that line that made me go, oh wow, there's a lot of love.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing behind Magneto and Charles X is essentially Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Like that's been it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like that they could still tell that story without Xavier and just Magneto by himself. And that's what's so cool about this story is it doesn't rely on X-Men or anything like that. We finally get introduced to the Marauders as the bad guys in this because they did some crime back in the 90s or 2000s.
They're like, they do hate crimes on mutants.
Fuckers.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was cool with it. I don't know who the Marauders are because I'm X-Men ignorant. Everyone knows this, as you've been listening to our retrospectives. I'm ignorant. But, but, I mean, I was still like, that sounds intimidating. Why not? Like, I'm totally down for it.
It's cool. I want to get some more insight about who this new character is, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's intriguing, but that's the thing.
But now the plot's finally starting.
Woo!
Let's go.
I'm going to give it a 9.
I give it a 9, too.
Because it's
so if it's this good when the plot hasn't started, what's going to happen when the plot actually does start? Maybe we'll be completely disappointed.
Yeah, just be like, oh, this plot sucks.
Oh, man, this book is terrible when it has a narrative. When it has a goal.
Goal. Exactly. And now we are actually into our comics that we picked up this week. First up, Earth 2, number 24. Now, as we've always said, Earth 2 is a badass series.
Earth 2 is always fun when it was James Robinson on it and when it's Tom Taylor on it now.
On Tom Taylor, it's must read. Because before it was
just like, it's a good time. I'd recommend it. After Tom Taylor's like, oh my god, it's insane. You should pick it up.
Like when I say New 52 titles, like everyone asks us, like, what should you read from the New 52? And of course we say Batman.
It's like Batman, Swamp Thing, Animal Man, even though Animal Man's gone now.
And Earth 2.
Like Earth 2. Because
if you want to read something that'll make you go, comics? Like, this is it. Because it doesn't give a fuck. This comic doesn't, like... It sees all your hopes and dreams about comics and then crushes them. Doesn't give a fuck about them because it just like it knows how to tell an engaging, crazy story. Like, it just knows how to play your expectations and also make you kind of excited for stuff. And what's most exciting is that even though Green Lantern's been out of Tom Taylor's run this entire time, and he's finally back and did a giant blow-up last issue, he finally is just kicking ass this issue, and it's good to have Green Lantern back.
Yeah,
Alan Scott,
really
everybody.
I really like Alan Scott Green Lantern, the new iteration of him, where he's essentially the Swamp Thing equivalent. Like, he's sort of the representative of the Green in this parallel universe.
I love it. And I love how angry he is, too. Because, I mean, Hal Jordan can get angry, but he's always like, let's go get him, guys. Alan Scott's like, no! We're gonna make this stop now.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like, I like that, and I think that's really cool. And I also, what I found best about this entire issue is the way Nicholas Scott and Trevor Scott kind of changed up the way the parademons look. I think it's actually really cool. They kind of made them, like, I mean, they were demon-like before, but they're more bat-like now, with more curved wings. And, I mean, if you see this one in the corner, right here, he's kind of... It's the best looking, like, parademon I've seen. I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of creepy looking. Like, instead of like, oh, look at these goofy looking guys.
Yeah,
like,
parademons have never looked like intimidating. I feel like the books always treat them as they're so much.
They're just fodder.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, Hawk Girl could beat up a ton of them, which she does in this one, but they make it reasonable. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you're like,
even like Superman the animated series was like super inconsistent on just like how powerful they were.
Yeah, like sometimes a parademon would come up, punch Superman, and he would go foom.
And then other times he would just plow through them.
It's just kind of like, what are these guys made out of paper?
I guess it's a sunny day versus an overcast day.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, I feel weird today.
Superman didn't get enough sunlight.
Maybe. I don't know. I really love the action between the parademons and Green Lantern here. I think it's really cool. And I think what really stands out in this issue is actually, what's his name? Jimmy
Olsen?
Jimmy Olsen. I forgot if they had changed his name or not. Jimmy Olsen actually gives a stern talking to Batman. And
yeah, it puts him in his place.
Yeah, I was kind of like,
it's like Jimmy Olsen
putting well, it is Thomas Wayne Batman, but it is still like,
it's still a Batman.
It's still
it's still a grumpy, brooding Batman.
I was still like, oh, okay, and it's awesome. I was so like, oh, okay, like, and I love how he's like, I was considering to be your Robin, but you need to get your shit together. And I was just like,
but if that's gonna happen, you and I, what does it say? But for that to happen, you and I are going to have a serious talk about your attitude.
I was like, what, Jimmy? What did you just say to Thomas Wayne? Like, he will shoot you in the face. He doesn't care. Like he's a murdering psychopath. I don't think he really cares. Yeah, we'll see. But I thought it was pretty good. And also at the end, what we've all been waiting for, and we knew was coming, so this isn't a spoiler. You've probably read the solicitations for the next DC. So here he is, Val Zod, finally taking off his shirt and revealing he's got Superman underneath. So that means he might actually kick some ass.
Is it really? It's really just a convoluted way of trying to make the black Superman from the alternate universes that we've always had like legitimate.
Yeah, and I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. It works. That's the thing, is that Tom Taylor knows how to make these absurd alterations to the characters and make you go, all right.
Ideas that you and I would like never come up with.
No,
and you and I are both creators.
Yeah,
so just like Lois Lane as Red Tornado. That sounds stupid. I don't know if that would work.
And then you read it and you're like, that's a pretty good dynamic. It's a good dynamic drama piece. It just works for the entire thing. They know how to build drama out of character, which is what Tom Taylor's very strong at, I think. What would you give this? An 8?
I'd give it an 8.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just below. You know, like it's
it's
not quite.
But it's still like,
it's still
it's
fun.
got
It's
the action. It's cool. But it does not win our fight of the week.
No.
What wins our fight of the week? Hands down!
Aquaman versus Swamp Thing, round 2.
Round 2, people! It's Swamp Thing issue number 32.
And this time he's on Aquaman's home turf.
Would you look at that cover? Would you just look at it? It's gorgeous. I like it's so amazing. It's gonna be our icon for this episode. So if you're listening to the episode, just look at the icon, because it's just Swamp Thing holding a trident with sharks, whales, turtles, and shit flying behind him, and you're like, yeah, this is gonna be cool. And it is. Swamp Thing, of course, goes down, and uses seaweed to grow himself.
Oh yeah, because there are plants everywhere, like he says.
And
because it's funny, because Swamp Thing, you could almost compare Swamp Thing to Aquaman.
Almost.
In the point where, like, if you tried to tell people about it, they're just like, well, all I can do is talk to fish, right? Well, all I can do is control plants. What can plants do? Just
exactly.
Swamp Thing will show you what plants can do.
And Aquaman will show you what Atlanteans can do.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think what's so strong about the New 52 is they don't mess around with just being like, I'm Aquaman and I'm a badass. He goes, I'm Aquaman, I'm the king of Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
And stop fucking around with Atlantis. That's the main lesson of the New 52. Don't fuck about with Atlantis. It's just not a good idea. Because first off, just to start off the fight, Aquaman's like, I ain't having your shit. He throws the spear into Swamp Thing's shoulder and then has fishes eat Swamp Thing.
Fish, remember, it's also plural.
Sorry,
just
fishes.
A bunch of fish who just feed on algae just tear him to pieces. You're just like, damn.
Damn. And my favorite part about this entire issue is that Jesus Says does a fantastic job.
Jesus Says.
Or Jesus Says.
Jesus Says, as
Jesus
we like to call
Says
him.
did a fantastic job with this issue. He draws this allergy monster with such, like, Gannett Paquette, like, detail. You know, like, he adds...
It almost looks like Lovecraftian. It's
yeah,
really cool.
I love it. And then I love when, like, he actually, like, Swamp Thing taps into the monster to finally, and he finds out the reason why he can't talk to it is because it's a separate part of the green. And it's interesting once he gets in there because there's Swamp Thing, there's like green Aquaman and green Manatee. I don't know, it's weird. It's it's really trippy and like strange.
Tripping balls. But
that's what I love about Swamp Thing is that like it's not afraid to get weird like that. And
it's always been like that. It started off as a Vertigo book. What do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, Alan Moore used to do that all the time. Just be like, hey, normal superhero plot, weird.
Yeah.
Now everyone's tripping balls and having sex with each other in Gotham.
I feel like Jesus, Jesus Says... I have this feeling he likes Aquaman, because he draws Aquaman super well.
Oh my goodness, they should switch him over to the Aquaman book, because he's so good at it. Like, he just makes him look like a motherfucking badass the entire time. And it's just so cool. Like,
and then there's a point where this new entity tries to form an avatar body. And when I was reading it, I thought that's almost like the Venom equivalent to Swamp Thing. I mean, look at this thing.
Look at it. It really looks like a crazy Venom thing, but I love that Swamp Thing just takes it to pieces. It's so cool. So we get two great fights. We get an Avatar versus Avatar sort of thing, and then we also get Aquaman versus Swamp Thing. This issue is just full of so much goodness. It's just
because Swamp Thing has such a good concept that every time Swamp Thing gets creative with its fights, it gets super creative with its fights.
Absolutely. So what would you give it?
I'd give this a 9.
Yeah, I'm with you at 9. It is something. It's a fight to behold. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Next up is Green Arrow number 32, Broken City. Or is it just Broken? It's just Broken. But it should be called Broken City because this issue is about that Green Arrow finally comes back to Seattle, and he's like, oh, shit, what happened to my city?
What happened while I was dealing with the outsiders? It's like, well, Richard Dragon kind of controls the city now.
The entire city.
Yeah.
And he also took Deagle, which is, I mean, as we've always said, it's pretty cool that Deagle is in the book now. Like, he's kind of like the Harley of the Green Arrow universe. They're like, created for TV? Now it's in here and everyone loves them.
I'm waiting for Felicity. I like Felicity a lot more on Arrow.
Nah, I don't know. Maybe they might do that. I'm sure they won't because they introduce so many characters in here. My favorite thing is that this fight, that this issue's, other than a good fight with some D-listers like Killer Moth, Red Dart, and some and some other ones, that they also have this fantastic art pieces, like just in the middle, 2-page spreads with very unique art style and very unique panels.
This is how Andrea Sorrentino does flashbacks.
And it's so crazy. Like, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous stuff that, like, makes you go, ooh, what's that? You know, like, the entire time. I want to find another scene, because they do it twice. They go to a flashback twice, and it's very distinct. like this one. It's just like once it goes to the past, it's all black and shading. And I love that Andrea has been able to update her style. His style, sorry. His style for, like, as Green Arrow keeps going. Because at the beginning it was all those little panels.
It's been very experimental.
Yes.
And he tries new things a lot.
And I like it.
I like that the silhouettes signify the flashbacks, but then you bring in color, kind of like Sin City.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's pretty. Like it's gorgeous. It's like it's smart comic book art, and I can't wait for this story because I mean I was excited. Like Outsiders War was cool.
Yeah,
like, it was good stuff. But like, and it ended really cool. But this story sounds even better on his own turf. Seattle's completely ruined, and Green Arrow has to fight to take it back. Totally cool with that storyline. I want
Good
more.
luck. No pressure, Ollie. Good luck. Do it.
Go fix it. So, I mean, I'm just excited for more Jeff Lemire Green Arrow. As always, I love Jeff Lemire. And if they just keep him on Green Arrow, I'm cool with it forever. Like, I mean, it's kind of like Batman, where you're like, this is solid as fuck all the time. He can
afford to stay on it. Animal Man's gone. Now he's got to make up for it.
Well, he's got Justice League United now, so it's like at least Animal Man's on there, and he's the main character.
Bring Frankenstein.
Yeah, except
just bring everyone we want.
Well, that's what pisses me off about Future's End so much is that Jeff Lemire's on it. So I just want to read Jeff Lemire's part. Like, can they just release his digital copy Jeff Lemire's parts?
Make an entirely new team book called The Underdogs. It's like all the major characters we love just brought into one team. Like, we got fucking Animal Man here, Victoria, Justice League United. We got fucking Etrigan.
Frankenstein.
We got Frankenstein. We got Virtue.
Yeah, there you go. Just a bunch of people that got canceled. It's like they should call it the Canceleds, and it should just be a bunch of canceled DC people. I'm gonna give this an 8 because it is still a setup, but it is still is pretty damn good.
It's an action-packed setup.
It's an action-packed setup. Next up on the list is Green Lantern number 32. I had to get this variant cover because it's awesome. It has nothing to do with Ferris Air, this entire issue.
No,
I just wanted this cover. It's something else.
In fact, it might have been more appropriate for Green Lantern Corps because isn't Carol a bigger part of that, I think?
Yeah, I think so. It was just kind of like, all right, whatever. But at the same time, I had to get this cover. It's gorgeous. But this is probably... And I don't mean this lightly. This is the most entertaining issue of Green Lantern that Robert Venditti's done.
Yeah, because the Relic stuff was good. I'd say it's definitely one of the best, especially after Relic, because Relic was an interesting storyline, but
it ended and we had
slowed down so much.
It was halt, and and it was supposed to be this giant war, and now we are finally getting to the to this midpoint on this war. We're finally getting some changes, and that's where the story finally takes off. It's finally there's some big changes to this war.
Now things
scenario.
are finally coming to a head, which is good because all the setup for it was excessive.
So much, and it's finally we're getting down to it, and it's actually lots of explosions. This issue's just boom, 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 crack, boom.
It's pretty good,
and it's we get to some space action that doesn't feel stupid.
And even besides the action, the dialogue is interesting. It's well paced. It's not overwritten like a lot of these have been. It's just we're gonna do stuff. No,
here's some exposition about my planet.
We can't do stuff. Green Lanterns are destroying the universe, but we have to try. Rinse, repeat. We've heard it before. We get it.
It was just okay.
But now things are finally coming to a head. They're finally tying off that symbiotic species that's been causing trouble for everyone.
Yeah, and what I really like about this is that finally we have gotten to a part of this Green Lantern War storyline that I can't predict completely.
Yeah.
That's the most important part, is that they have finally made something that's actually suspenseful, instead of me being I get it, shut the fuck up, have Green Lanterns win the war already, the only way they kept me in suspense was, are Green Lanterns right ethically? That was it. That was the only question here. But we they finally get down to it, and it's just oh, okay. What would you give it?
I'd give it a 7.
Yeah. It's still most entertaining they've had. Still not fantastic.
You got a little spark. Keep it going.
Yeah, let's see. Next up on our list, we're finally out of all the greens, so we're going into the bats. It's Batwing, number 32. This is not the final issue of Batwing. I think there's at least 1 or 2 more left. I'm not exactly sure. But it is really sad to see it go, and you can kind of tell that Palmati probably got his letter to finish this series
a little
up.
sooner than you might expect.
Yeah, because like this issue is light.
It's better that way because they have time to actually give it some sort of conclusive ending. Like I got that sense with the movement. I did not get that sense with Demon Knights when it ended. Yeah,
absolutely. It was just like, oh yeah, we're ending. Shit. Let's finish it. It's like this way they get to finish off their family storyline, and then there'll be like a storyline to link Batwing to some other group, I'm sure, but before he gets sent out. But it's really sad to see Batwing go because this issue really shows the strengths of all Batwing. It's fun. It's good read. If you love Batman action, this has tons of it.
And it's still Batman Beyond without being Batman Beyond.
Yeah. The only problem is it's weak cast of characters, it's weak cast of villains per se, and they take him out here, so you're really not, you're kind of like, well, he's got a clean slate, we should run with this, but DC's not going to, which sucks. But
who knows? I never really read Batwing before this, before Luke Fox Jr. David Zimbabwe. I didn't hear bad things about it.
No, but there's a reason why it was switched to Luke Fox.
Yeah,
it just wasn't selling enough, and I think this is way more interesting. I just wish it could keep going, but what can you do? I love the action in this. I mean, there's some great stuff, and it's actually kind of heartfelt. Even though it's a really, really quick read, it's really heartfelt, and full of Lucius Fox tripping balls. But
yeah, he was tripping balls in 0 Year too, kind of just talking to himself. He was recording that message for his son, and he died. And just you need help.
Oh yeah, Lucius, you go through a lot, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just like Jim Gordon, them. They probably just go to the bar together and just get wasted. Just our life sucks.
Apocalypse Wednesday. That's what you should call Gotham, Apocalypse Wednesday. But I mean, I just want more, and it's sad to see it go. So I'm gonna give it another 7. It's nothing too fantastic, but it's good.
I would actually go higher than that.
Yeah, you go for an 8?
I'd give it an 8, yeah. Because I've enjoyed this a little more than some of the previous issues because I was starting to get sick of the underground plot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought it wraps up nicely.
Yeah, it's good.
And this was entertaining. I've just never been as in love with this series as you have.
Because I like Batman Beyond. I'm just I
like Batman Beyond too.
And he's not being treated well in Future's End, so there's only one way I can get
He has his own book.
Yeah, I mean, I could read that, I guess. But we'll go on to more Batman. Batman Eternal, number 9. Can you believe it, guys? We're 9 weeks into Batman Eternal, and it's still good. It's still good. Show's over. I'm done. Batman Eternal's good.
You know how good this series is? You know how good?
Really good.
You know how I'm going to tell you? The Batman in Japan issue written by Chris Burnham was garbage. They did Batman in Japan in this? It was good.
It was good. Can you even fucking believe it? I hate Batman of Japan. Hate him more than anything. I love Batman, but Batman in Japan is stupid.
Yeah.
And
super dumb.
But they somehow almost make it work here.
Almost kind of make him sound cool.
Yeah, you're
make him seem kind of cool, gimmicky but cool.
Yeah, you're okay, it's super Japanese, but I'm down. But instead of Chris Burnham's written one where they're we're just gonna do a manga and just not make it make sense, basically in an issue. This is okay, it's still a Batman Eternal issue, but we want to throw some Batman in Japan
and
in
it doesn't feel contrived.
No.
It was already well established that Batman was going to go
to Japan. So it was set up, and then obviously he would call on Batman Incorporated people once he's there. And my favorite thing is the Bat Cave for Batman of Japan. He's got Godzilla over here and a Chinese coin over here, a giant one. It's just wow, okay.
That's it's on the nose, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's funny. But mostly, this issue doesn't concentrate on him. They kind of downplay him, which is the smart thing to do.
He's an asset.
Yeah, instead of just being
he's there. He's not the focus. He's just there to help.
Because really, the main focus of this issue is Catwoman. Is what actually is Catwoman doing?
Catwoman, what she's doing there. It's really about Falcone. The entire thing is about what Falcone's been doing while he's been gone.
Which is kind of interesting because we still get more and more and more of what the hell's happening. And I also I don't mind Catwoman actually being vengeful and being like, I have a purpose now, instead of just being like, I just went around and stole all these jewels and cat-shaped things.
Fuck me.
Yeah, like, can I keep all these cat things? You're like, no.
Batman, you gonna fuck me?
Batman.
Batman.
It's been since issue 1.
Batman.
Since I got like,
just like always. I mean, it's a pity because they had a really good thing going for her before the reboot, where she was starting to become more of an anti-hero than everything. She was actually starting to become a good guy.
Yeah, well, now she is. She's on. Remember, she was on Justice League of America. She was on this, and she's still working as a good guy.
She's still out for herself, but we're getting like a good balance.
Yeah.
You know.
And here she's doing it to take down Carmine, and I like that.
Yeah.
Like it's instead of just being like, I have no purpose. It's like, good, okay.
Because he might be my father.
It might be my father. The only thing that's weird is the goddamn, like, the shapes they make her kick in. Of course, it's always just like
Guillaume March is a good artist. He's a
great
good
artist. He drives Batman awesome, and Carmine.
But what is with this pose?
What's wrong with her leg?
What even is that?
It's just like,
Is that supposed to be like a wide angle lens and like the camera?
Really
focused
though,
to, like,
that's the
underfoot?
only thing I can say. Like
it looks like I guess it's supposed to be a wide angle lens shot, and like the foot's in the foreground.
But it's incredible. She she's kicking through the air, sort of, and twisting her leg like this, like completely in the opposite direction that it should be flying at. And you're like, I guess,
I mean, either
Catwoman.
it's just a weird shot, or she just became like Flex Mentallo.
Absolutely. But I mean, he does a damn good Batman. I mean, look how pissed Batman looks. He's just like, fuck you.
Batman always looks pissed when he's drawn by Guillaume March.
I like
or,
it.
like enraged.
Even
all
when
the
he's
time.
just talking to people. I love it. He has a conversation with somebody. With this girl, he's like, we should team up. We have the same mission. And it just makes it look like he's just yelling in her face. Rachel, get your shit together. It's mostly like, what the hell? But really, this issue starts off well. It has a cool concept with the Batman in Japan, amazingly, and then ends with a twist that makes me go, what?
Oh.
Like, same face as Alfred here.
Not like spoiling what it is, but
Well,
Alfred's reaction to it
is perfect. Just like cover that thing. But look at that. And also, I want to point out, do you see that he's got Batman earphones? I want those. Like, where can I buy those Batman headphones? Because they are nice. Like, they are. And why did Batman spend the money on those? He was like, well, I want 1,000 headphones. Really nice. Bat symbols on them, sir.
Oh, it's Batman. He's probably as meticulous, just like, I'm going to paint a bat symbol on every single pair.
He's got a little spray paint. He's just like, all right,
Yeah.
good. That's nice. But, like, really, Batman Eternal, fantastic issue.
It's good. This issue was... Actually, talking about it right now made me think, wow, this issue was a lot more fun than I thought now that we've been talking about it.
So I'm going to give it like an 8.
I give it an 8, too, a very high 8.
Very, very high 8. It's good stuff. And for John Layman, too, which he was one of our guys, we were like...
It's like him
We're
and Tim
watching
Seeley
you.
were just like,
But that was a good issue. But we've been saving the best for last.
The Wake, number 9 out of 10.
Oh, baby. I don't even know what's happening in this issue. I have no clue, but it's so good.
I don't know what happens. I have no idea how this is supposed to flow. I don't even know what happened. I don't even know who these people are. But it was amazing.
But truthfully, like, I almost wish I could pick up the Wake as just one read at the one time.
Well, I mean, there's only one issue left. You just need to just take all your issues and just read it all from beginning to end in a sitting.
It's because so, like, I feel like it's so long between every Wake
Every
issue.
single one. And we were always just like, what happened last time?
Oh, right. And, like, he does a good job of recapping the entire series in this. So you still, like, you get a recap. It feels like, so that way it's a setup for the final big battle at the end. But, like, you're still like, I don't even remember what was happening. Like, this stuff's
But at least
crazy.
it finally, like, addresses stuff that I've been wandering around since, like, issue 1.
Yeah.
Like, the prehistoric stuff.
Yeah.
That is finally, like, addressed at the end, even though we still don't know what it is.
Still have no idea.
The ending, without even talking about it, well, we don't even know what happens.
Yeah, I really have no idea what happens at the end of this book. Like, I was joking about not knowing what's happening in this book, but really, the ending, I really have no clue what the fuck happened.
And I think that's what the intent is.
Yeah, you're supposed to be like,
What?
huh? But, like, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens next. I'm so, like, I'm ready.
All right, well, how's this gonna end? How's this all gonna wrap up?
But like this is an action-packed issue. Like for an issue that's it's like slightly set up for the final and leading into the final, this is crazy. This is like it just kind of sets up this giant climactic nutsness at the end, and I'm just loved at Scott Snyder's storytelling ability. Like I'm just in love with it. It's just incredible because like we get to this point and we've been rooting for these characters for so long, and then in a couple splash pages they're ruined, and you're kind of still like, what the fuck's happening next? Like you're just ready. Like it's just so interesting.
Keeps you on the edge.
Absolutely. And even if you have no idea what's happening, you're still like, I'm on the edge of my seat.
But
like,
the Wake will definitely like read a lot better in trade.
Absolutely. If like I'm saying this now, buy the first 5 issues in the little thick book, and then
that tiny little thing.
And then they'll put out the other they'll probably put out these 5 issues as a tiny little thing too.
Yeah, and then afterward they'll just collect it as a whole.
But it's going to be wonderful as a one-page read. Well, as a one sit-down read. Because
one sitting, because you have everything in your head instead of, like, waiting a month for each little piece
like,
of
what's
story.
that theme about what's happening?
What happened again?
It's just like, but, like, I just need to show you this. Escaping an avalanche on a motherfucking dolphin. On a motherfucking dolphin!
Okay, so maybe Scott Snyder doesn't hate animals.
So, okay, he hates animals a lot, but not sea animals. Is that it? Like,
yes, maybe just like seeing he just hates mammals.
No, that's because he kills a fucking whale in Black Mirror. Remember that?
Scott Snyder, why do you hate animals so much? Maybe we should ask him.
Yeah, like if we ever have him on the show, be like, first question, why do you hate animals so much?
Even like, we'll just ask him when we see him at this year's Comic Con.
Just
fucking
like,
ask him, why do you hate animals, Scott Snyder?
Yeah, what did they do to you?
Your parents shot by a whale and a horse.
By a lion. Just by horses, yes. I'm pretty sure Scott Snyder's parents were killed by horses. I'm pretty, like, I can probably guarantee that. Like,
they were killed by bad horse.
Because he just fucking punches those horses in the face. I'm sure it's satisfying for both Scott Snyder and Batman. But really, The Wake, it's incredible. It is something else.
It's incredible, but it's hard to describe why. We're sorry, and we apologize.
Yeah, like,
you really need to read it to see.
But the art. Sean Patrick Murphy, let's give him all the... Like
it's
all the
Sean
awards.
Murphy. You're thinking of the actor.
Yeah,
Sean Patrick Murphy.
My bad. But really, give this guy all the what's the comic book award?
Comic Gold.
No. Well, yes, Comic Gold for this. But
is it the Will Eisner?
Will Eisner. Give the Will Eisner to this motherfucker. Like even if it's not Snyder, give it to Murphy.
Even if it's not an Eisner award, just give some award.
Some award, because this is something else. Like this is not your normal comic, and it's engaging as fuck.
I wonder how
and who the hell could make mermaids scary other than these two?
I mean, I wonder how it compares to like other Vertigo books, because this is like the only big Vertigo book we're reading right now, like the
other
current
than
stuff.
Sandman.
Yeah, but Sandman is Sandman.
It's so delayed. But that's all we're saying. Is that I want to read more Vertigo and stuff like that.
I've been interested to see like what Coffin Hill's all about, you know,
Yeah.
because that's been advertised up the wazoo.
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. Comment down below. Let us know Vertigo titles we need to pick up. I want to hear it from the fans. Like I want to know what we're missing out on Vertigo titles. I'm sure we're ignorant. So let us know down below if you're a big Vertigo fan. But other than that, guys, that's it for Real Books Don't Have Batman. Thanks for joining us this week, and thanks for watching on YouTube, listening on SoundCloud, listening on iTunes. Thanks.
Wherever you're listening.
Wherever you're listening, I want to thank you. But really, we always are amazed by the support we get from you guys. We passed 31,000 plays this week.
Keep hitting that play button.
And
keep like stuff. Like the Facebook page, please.
Yeah, go check out our Facebook page. And because if you want weird, just us talking comics, go to our Facebook page.
Making jokes, and we'll talk to you if you guys comment.
Yeah, we will answer questions.
We're humble.
Yeah,
we're not in the big leagues.
Yeah, we'll try talking.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, and have a great week.
See ya.